Good morning. This is Wisdom Wednesday number 10. And the subject today is called The Real Meaning of Yoga. The questioner says this: what is the real meaning of yoga? How does India speak about yoga? And I hear that's where yoga comes from India. I also hear that yoga is not only a physical exercise, and they say that it means union. How does the physical yoga relate to union? And yoga is everywhere, and people say that they feel good when they do it, and I feel good when I do it. How does feeling good relate to the meaning of union? Okay, this is my favorite subject, by the way, yoga and meditation. This is what I've been steeped in. I lived in India for many, many years with a teacher, practiced it every day, meditating. Yoga was my topic all day long, 24 hours a day for the 17 years that I lived in India. So this is my topic. So yes, if you're feeling good doing even just your physical yoga, understand that there is a science behind feeling good. And yoga is a lot more than just your physical yoga. As a matter of fact, the physical aspect of yoga came out way before, or way after, I should say, way after yoga was evolving in India. Basically, yoga was an understanding. It was a state of consciousness. It's really the practice of meditation. When you go into deeper and deeper states of meditation, you're actually experiencing a state of union. But the physical aspect of it is sort of the beginning stages of opening ourselves up into that union state. So yeah, when you do yoga, you're going to start having a little taste, a little tease of what's really a lot more possible for you to experience if you go further with your practice of yoga. So there is a scripture. There's lots of scriptures in India, but there's one particular scripture called Patanjali, and it's called the science of yoga. And us Westerners love science, so it's a good scripture for us because it breaks down the steps for the person who is brand new to yoga and meditation, what you need to do from step to step to step. So whatever state you're at, you take the steps and you move chronologically almost straight up to the highest state of consciousness. So what I'll do right now is I'll explain to you, there's a sutra in that scripture, the second sutra of the first chapter, and that sutra says this: Yogas Chit Vritti Nirod. It has 4 words. Yog, union; Chit, mind; Vritti, thoughts; and Nirod, the power of attention turning back toward the source. That's Nirod. It's the turning back towards the source. So I'll break that down a little bit more. So yoga means the dissolving of duality and merging into the oneness. So wherever you have a state of separateness, or that I am here and you are there, well, yoga is when the two merge and we begin to have this vision that I and you are one and the same. That's yoga. That's a vision. So it's a vision of oneness. So let's begin with the understanding that you feel separate. And when your attention is moving towards your thoughts or something that's happening external to you, that attention is landing on the objects and things that are always changing. So your thoughts are always changing. One day you're feeling this, and another day you're experiencing this. Your feelings are changing, and the sensations in your body is changing. Everything that we experience through our five senses are constantly changing. So there are two yous, or there's two me's. One that's identified with the changing field, everything that's changing. So every day, if I'm identified with, if my attention is moving out towards the objects, and I'm identified with everything that's happening, every up and down that's happening, I'm not going to feel good about myself, because there's no sense of steadiness or centeredness. I'm always flying around all over the place, sort of almost in a state of tension, because I'm afraid of what's going to happen next. So there's a lot of pain in this me that's identified with the things that are happening outside. So there's another me, or another you, we could say, that is that's free. That's what we call the watcher, the witness self. There's a part of us that's steady, that's centered, that's always present. It's free of any ups and downs. It's established, it's steady. It's never moving, always present. So that's the me that, if you want to experience the happy state or the peaceful state, that's the one you need to identify with. So union happens when your power of attention, which is this, we call it, the WW10 is going outward towards your objects or the things, your thoughts, and Nirod is the attention moving back towards your source, towards your essence, towards your spirit self, the unmanifest part of yourself, but is always present. So yoga actually is just the simple little thing. It's your attention that is used to going out, so there's this flowing attention going outward. All you do is you turn it back towards your source. That's all you do. So when we sit to meditate, then our attention, we can do this when our body is still, our mind is concentrated, we have one point to focus on. The attention moves from externally flowing to internally flowing. So that's what we do when we meditate. We choose an object, like the breath, as an example. And as you focus on the breath, many thoughts will come, and the thinking is the outward flowing attention, because you're watching the thoughts and you're going up and down with the thoughts. But when you meditate, you decide that I want to know who's watching this. So you're turning your attention back toward the observer. So what happens is your attention merges with the observer self. So rather than the self that's moving and changing all the time, now you're identifying with the self that is unchanging and not moving, that's eternally free and connected. So that's called oneness. That's called merging. That's called union. So this state is always available for us. We just have to do that one thing. So yogas, chit, vritti, nirod. Yoga is when the chit vrittis, the thoughts of the mind, turn backward towards its essence and merge and unite, so that when you enter that state, it becomes a state of bliss, union, and a vision of oneness, so that when your eyes are open and you are engaged in the senses and the objects and the people and situations and dramas, you're now seeing from a state of oneness, as opposed to before when your attention was flowing out all the time. That was a state of duality. You saw everything and everything was split up, everything was separated. Whereas when you come from a state of oneness, you can look at the world, but you have this power to see everything connected. So when you're in that connected state, you don't feel like you want to hurt anything. You know how to flow with everything because you feel already that connectedness. You're not needing anything because you feel fulfilled. It's the ultimate state that a human being can live. And it's definitely worth striving for or preparing your body and mind for. Because what are we here on earth for if it's not to live that state of consciousness? We all know on a subconscious level that that state is available for us. We know that. Especially when we suffer, we're thinking, why am I suffering? I didn't come on earth to suffer. Well, no, you didn't. You came on earth for this reason. This reason is to develop the state of, or the vision of oneness. And it's possible. And we're going to do just a short little meditation. Follow me. Just so that you can now experience what the state of oneness or yoga really is. So let's just do that. Close your eyes. I'll close mine too. And now all the external world is closed down. So now there's no attention going outward towards the things that you see with your eyes or ears. And bring your attention to your breathing. Inhale. Follow the breath on your inhalation. And exhale. Follow the breath on your exhalation. This practice is the focusing of the mind. So when we're focusing, we're training the mind into the vision of oneness. When you don't focus, you're scattered and you perpetuate the sense of duality. Now, when you begin to focus, you're building that muscle of oneness. Now, when you have a thought, notice that the thought is moving outward towards things, like something you just finished doing 2 minutes ago, or a worry or a concern that you have that's going to happen. It's either past or future. Now, ask yourself this question. Who is watching the breath? And it's the same who that is observing the thoughts. Who. So when you ask who is watching, who is observing, then that power of attention that we're all endowed with is now turning back to the source or the essence, that non-form part of ourself, that eternally free spirit part of ourself that's always present even when the body comes or goes. We are always here. So allow your attention to go back to the watcher. Take a moment and feel your watcher. Sense the watcher part of yourself. And notice that the watcher is not caught up and identified and doesn't feel any suffering, never suffers, is always in a state of observation. And in this moment, there is no pain, no suffering, because you have now gotten into the state of union, the state of oneness. This is called yoga. This is the true meaning of yoga. It's the state or the vision of oneness. And now take a deep breath. You may have touched that state very, very briefly. It doesn't matter, but the more often you practice, the more it will be developed. I practice 15 minutes. I would suggest that you practice 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the night before you go to bed, first thing in the morning, or any time during the day, 15 minutes up to an hour at a time. You can develop your practice. And the more you practice, the more that state of union will be experienced. And that state is I tell you, it's bliss. It's absolute bliss state. It means that the things can be happening, big problems can be happening, but there's a part of you that's not caught up, even though it's still happening. But somehow you have this ability to feel like you're bigger than your problems, because in fact, that's what happened. You started to expand by merging with your source. Your source is huge. It's the source of everything that exists, so it has to be far more powerful and bigger than any little problem that comes into your life. So when you identify with that which is bigger, then you feel immortal. You feel big. You feel capable. It's an incredible power that once you are on the back of that huge power, you can do anything in this world. And not just do anything, you can experience your true self, which is what we're here to do. Okay? So, I suggest that yes, you go and practice your physical yoga, but remember that there's a lot more to yoga. There's the meditation aspect of yoga. And when you meditate and go deep with your practice, then you will experience the greatest potential that a human being can experience. And you are born to experience that. All right. So thank you for joining me on Wisdom Wednesday, number 10. And so this is the end of our series this season. And but we'll start again, and I'll let you know when we start again. Okay, bye for now.